Where do you think she is?
Ghislaine, in a non-extraditable country.
And probably not going anywhere soon.
No.
Last thing to just touch on, of course, is the death, Epstein's death, and all the conspiracy theories there. Documentary touches on it, notes that, Michael Baden, who now is coming up again in the George Floyd case, he seems to be the guy, also in the OJ case, who comes forward and gives the autopsy report that whoever hired him to give wants, right? So Epstein's brother hires him, doesn't want it to be suicide, presumably perhaps because of insurance or who knows why. And sure enough, Baden comes back and says, probably not suicide, even though the medical examiner had said suicide. In the George Floyd situation, you also had the family hiring him, and he comes up with an autopsy report that is different than the Minnesota health examiner had come up with. So that seemed to me to be the only evidence the documentary presented that it was other than suicide. What are your thoughts?
Two things. I have been speaking to Mark Epstein since Epstein was arrested. His brother was arrested. Very early on, I think the very first conversation that I had with Mark Epstein, which was lengthy, I said to him, he said to me in passing, I hadn't seen Jeff in 7 years. And I said, why, Mark? Why didn't you see your brother in 7 years? And he said, because I told him that I would see him at the morgue. That was his response when we first spoke in July of 2019.
What did he mean by that?
And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, well, I knew that somebody was going to kill him, and I told him so. So he said this to me before his brother died. Second thing, wait, I have to go on.
And he had, sorry, to be clear, he had said that 7 years prior.
Yes, he had told Epstein. He had told
2012-13, he was telling his brother, someone's going to kill you.
According to Mark Epstein, in my conversation with Mark Epstein, the first week after his brother is arrested, Jeffrey Epstein is arrested July 6, 2019. I spoke to Mark that week, and he said this to me. Epstein was not dead or had not attempted his first suicide yet. I was also in conversation with an active federal agent, FBI agent. And that first week when Epstein was arrested, the agent said to me, quote, Epstein will not make it to trial, period. There are towels on the inside, period. And I asked the agent, what do you mean? I was confused. I said, what do you mean towels on the inside? What does that mean? And he said, figure it out, Conchita. On August 10th, Saturday. Well, there was the first suicide attempt, July 23rd, and then the second one.
Okay, so just to break those two comments down real quickly, towels on the inside, that to me means suicide. Is that what you think the FBI agent was saying, or is he saying homicide?
No, homicide. No.
But you can commit suicide with towels too, though.
But there aren't towels. See, the thing is that the inmates are not allowed towels. They're allowed towels when they take a shower 3 times a week, but the towels have to stay in the. Remember what his cell? He was in the shoe unit. I don't know if you've seen what it looks like.
And back to what the brother said, where he tells Epstein, you're going to be killed. By whom?
Well, Mark Epstein certainly didn't know, I think, or he certainly didn't tell me. But I mean, think about it.
But Mark says that I told my brother 7 years ago, you're going to be killed. Okay.
Yeah. No. That's not what he said. He said, I told Jeff that I would see him at the morgue. And I said, what do you mean, Mark? And he said, well, because I knew he would be killed.
By whom, though, do you think?
Well, he didn't say. But I mean,
clearly he thought something was swirling around that was going to come back to him.
Absolutely. And he also said to me that Jeffrey did not allow him to socialize with his friends. So Mark and Jeffrey did not socialize together. Mark is a married man with children and quite different than his brother in many aspects. I think he loves his brother very much. I have a feel, when I talk to him, I get the feeling that he definitely, loved and admired his brother. But I don't think they were friends.
Okay, so we have Bodden saying he thinks it may have been homicide, but other than that, other than speculation, I'm not aware of any evidence that it was homicide. I mean, somebody had to have gotten into that cell without leaving any sign of entry, exit, etc.
I'm going to tell you one thing that I'm sure you already know, but I'm going to hopefully remind you. 3 doors from Epstein was Mexico's most notorious cartel leader, El Chapo Guzman. He was 3 doors away from Epstein in the SHU unit. It is much too strange that the 2 female lawyers who signed Epstein's will and testament on August 8th, 2019, happened to have been El Chapo Guzman's attorneys. I spoke to one of them. She didn't want to comment. Miss Colon Miro. I spoke to her. I called her because to me it was just shocking. Epstein had no idea who these 2 female lawyers were before he went into MCC. He had 3 lawyers. He had Mr. Weinberg, Mr. Weingarten, and the third partner. David Schoen claims that he was, in this documentary, David Schoen also claims that he was going to represent Epstein, that Epstein had agreed. That is not the case. I have emails from both Mr. Weinberg and Mr. Schoen telling me the truth of that statement.
So the attorneys that did Epstein's will had also been representing El Chapo, is what you're saying.
El Chapo Guzman. There were 2.
By the way, as you know, that's a very specialized area of law to do a will and testament. Yes. So presumably they were doing El Chapo's will and testament.
Yes, but think about it. Epstein could have had anyone. Don't you think he could have said to Martin Weinberg, Marty, get me the best will and estate attorney? You don't think Mr. Weinberg was capable of bringing in the top will and estate attorney?
Yeah. Okay, but
why did Epstein hire 2 attorneys he didn't know, female attorneys representing El Chapo?
Okay, but I'm confused. So your theory is what then? As to why he would have hired El Chapo's attorneys?
Well, I think it goes deeper than that. I think if Epstein wanted to disappear from the planet, there's only one man who could have helped him disappear, and he was 3 cell doors away. That's what I think. And so when you ask me about how could it have happened on the inside, you don't think a man like El Chapo had all the contacts in the world on the inside, on the outside, and everywhere around?
To assist someone in murdering Epstein.
Or helping him kill himself. Or however, I mean, I don't usually believe in conspiracy theories. I try not to anyway. But just look at all the...
it's suspicious no matter which way it comes out. Suicide is suspicious and bizarre and very, very hard to believe that it could possibly happen in those circumstances, considering he had been on suicide watch and had attempted it before.
Well, suicide watch, and the fact that I was told by a federal agent only days after he went into jail.
Yeah.
I was told on the phone. I was told point blank, he will not make it to trial, period. How was he so sure? How was this agent so sure?